The Galactic Empire stretched across thousands of star systems. It ruled with cold pride and power that few could challenge. Planets that dared to resist were crushed beneath the weight of fleets that could darken suns. Its rulers believed no world could stand against them. When they finally discovered Earth, they didn't see a rival. They saw a joke. Reports from their scouts called humanity a primitive carbon species. The Empire's media broadcast videos of Earth's small ships and weak technology. Across alien worlds, laughter echoed. Commentators mocked how humans still used combustion engines and missiles. They called Earth the planet of toys. The Emperor himself said, "Let them live. It will be entertaining to watch them struggle." But the humans heard everything. Every intercepted signal, every insult, every word. In hidden bunkers deep beneath the oceans and frozen poles, Earth's governments met in secret. The world's greatest minds, soldiers and engineers, formed an alliance unlike anything before. They called it the Silence Protocol. While the Empire laughed, Earth went quiet. No more transmissions were sent beyond the solar system. No signals, no messages, no answers. To the Empire, it looked like fear. But to humanity, silence meant preparation. Behind the moon's dark side, something massive began to form. Shipyards hidden under layers of stealth shielding built vessels far beyond anything humanity had ever launched. They studied alien wrecks, stolen blueprints, and even fragments of crashed probes. Piece by piece, they built the impossible. The Empire did not notice. Their attention was elsewhere, on wars that mattered, on enemies they considered real. To them, Earth was dust at the edge of nowhere. But to humanity, every second was precious. Admiral Kane stood in the observation deck of the command ship Erebus, orbiting behind the moon. The stars stretched before him, cold and silent. He remembered the day the first Empire probe entered Earth's orbit. It had hovered above major cities, scanning, recording, mocking their defenses. When humans shot it down, the Empire destroyed 3 orbital stations in retaliation. Kane's wife had been aboard one of them. He never forgot. Now, years later, he looked out into that same cold void with a calm face. Humanity was no longer begging for mercy. They were ready to answer. Beneath the surface of Mars, engineers activated the core of a weapon that no alien empire believed possible, Project Leap. It was a teleportation drive powered by a fusion array so unstable that even testing it was forbidden by Earth's Safety Council. Yet it worked. It could bend space around a fleet and launch it across light years in seconds. Only 3 people in the galaxy knew it existed. Admiral Kane was one of them. On the night of the test, Earth's skies were clear. The Empire's sensors picked up nothing unusual. But from the shadow of the moon, space itself began to shimmer. The light bent, twisted, and rippled like water disturbed by a storm. And then, gone. The Erebus and its escort fleet vanished from all detection. The Empire's analysts thought it was an error, a human malfunction. They laughed again. 2 days later, laughter turned into silence. At the far edge of the Empire's territory, near a mining colony orbiting a red star, alarms screamed. From nothing, human ships appeared. One after another, sleek dark vessels unfolded from distorted space. Before the Empire's fleet could react, they fired. Precision strikes cut through shields and hulls with perfect accuracy. It wasn't just an attack, it was a message. Earth had learned to walk the stars. On every Empire broadcast, panic replaced arrogance. Commanders shouted for explanations, scientists denied what they saw, and officers refused to believe it was humans. Yet, there they were, ships bearing Earth's insignia, moving faster than light should allow, destroying the Empire's pride. The Emperor demanded answers. His generals hesitated to speak. Finally, one trembling advisor whispered, "The humans, they bent space itself." Across the galaxy, worlds that had once laughed at Earth fell silent. For the first time, they felt fear. Back on the Erebus, Admiral Kane watched the battle unfold through his holographic display. Each red marker of the Empire's ships turned blue. destroyed, or disabled. He didn't smile. He only said one quiet sentence. Now they will listen. On Earth, the governments remained hidden. The people still didn't know the full truth. They only saw strange auroras at night, remnants of teleportation energy around the planet. But deep underground, in command centers filled with glowing screens, leaders watched humanity's first strike unfold. The Empire's laughter had ended. In its place, a new sound filled the void, a silent determination that could be felt even across the stars. Humanity had spoken, not with words, but with action. And somewhere beyond the edge of the known galaxy, where old empires trembled, one ancient saying began to spread among alien soldiers. Do not mock Earth. They do not laugh back. The Empire had always believed power was measured in size. Their fleets covered entire planets. Their ships could block out the sun. To them, Earth was still a small blue world with small ships and small dreams. That belief ended the moment humanity struck first. At dawn on the Empire's prime world, a transmission cut through every channel. No introduction, no threats. Just a quiet voice, calm and human. This is Admiral Kane of Earth. You mocked us. You invaded our skies. Today, we return your laughter. Before the signal could be traced, the stars themselves shifted. Thousands of sensors screamed as massive readings appeared, ships emerging from nowhere, bending light around them. Entire fleets materialized above the Empire's largest shipyard. They didn't warp in. They appeared as if reality had decided to place them there. The Empire's admirals panicked. No species had ever done this. Their teleport gates required enormous energy stations. Yet humanity's fleet had arrived without warning, without distortion, without any sign of travel. It was impossible. The humans called it fold strike. The first shot came from the Erebus. A single rail slug cut through the airless void, glowing white-hot as it pierced the Empire's dreadnought Valorian. Shields shattered. The ship broke in half before its crew could scream. In seconds, hundreds more human ships opened fire. The Empire's defense grid came alive, firing beams of plasma and antimatter cannons. But the human fleet danced between them, vanishing and reappearing miles away in less than a heartbeat. It was as if they could see the enemy's moves before they happened. Target Priority 1, disable their command ship, Kane ordered. His tone was calm, steady. From his bridge, the stars looked like they were tearing apart. Explosions lit up the blackness in waves. The Empire's commanders shouted through broken transmissions trying to regroup, but each time they formed a defensive wall, human ships blinked behind it. The Empire had fought countless wars, but this was not a war. It was a demonstration. Down on the shipyard's surface, alien workers ran for cover as human marines teleported into the airless yards. They moved like shadows, securing data, seizing technology, and leaving no trace but the rising dust. When Empire drones tried to record them, their feeds glitched and went dark. Within an hour, the greatest military complex of the Empire, an armory built over a century, was gone. Vaporized. Admiral Kane watched silently from his chair. On his display, the last Empire ship broke apart, glowing like a dying star. His second-in-command turned to him. It's over, sir. No survivors. Kane nodded. Then transmit the message. The transmission was short. One sentence. Earth remembers your laughter. The signal spread across the stars, bouncing through every communication hub the Empire had. Some thought it was fake. Others refused to believe it was from humans. But soon, the truth became undeniable. The Empire's surveillance drones recorded the wreckage. Thousands of their own ships drifting lifeless in orbit. Panic spread like wildfire. On the Empire's capital world, senators screamed for answers. The Emperor stood before a wall of images showing destroyed fleets. His eyes glowed with fury, yet beneath his anger was fear. How can this be? He demanded. They were primitives. An old science minister stepped forward, trembling. They not broke the laws of travel, Your Majesty. They did not warp, they folded. They learned to skip space itself. Silence filled the room. The Emperor turned to his generals. Then crush them. Send the armada. Yes, my lord, a commander said, though his voice wavered. But if they can appear anywhere, where will we strike? The Emperor said nothing. He only looked up at the hologram of Earth glowing faintly blue. Back in the solar system, humanity celebrated in quiet rooms. No cheering, no parades. Only the steady hum of engines and the sound of strategists whispering over screens. Every victory message came coded. The world did not yet know what had happened. The governments agreed to keep the truth hidden until it was safe. Admiral Kane stood alone in the observation dome, watching the Earth rise beyond the moon's curve. It looked peaceful, untouched by war. He knew peace would not last. The Empire would return, stronger, angrier, and desperate. He closed his eyes for a moment and whispered, "We will be ready." On Mars, Project Leap's scientists refined the teleportation drives. They spoke in hushed tones, aware that they had just rewritten the laws of reality. One engineer laughed nervously. "If we can appear anywhere," he said, "then no world is safe." His colleague replied quietly, "No world, but ours will be protected." As the days passed, the galaxy began to change. Border worlds stopped paying taxes to the Empire. Smugglers whispered about ghost fleets appearing from nowhere. Some claimed to have seen Earth's insignia, an orbiting blue sphere wrapped in white light, on the side of ships that vanished as soon as they appeared. For the first time in centuries, the Empire hesitated before attacking anyone. Fear had found them, and in that silence humanity grew bolder. The fleets expanded. The weapons improved. The message was spreading. Humanity is not a joke anymore. But Kane knew the war had only begun. The Empire would not stay silent for long. The next strike would be greater. They would come with everything they had. He looked out once more into the stars and spoke softly to no one in particular. "They thought we were nothing. Now they'll learn what nothing can become." Far beyond the solar system, the ruins of the Empire's shipyard drifted in the void, a silent grave. Floating among the debris was a single human beacon, blinking in soft blue light. Its message was simple and eternal: "We are here." The Empire had never known fear. It had conquered galaxies, enslaved species, and crushed entire civilizations into dust. But when the reports arrived, thousands of destroyed ships, entire fleets erased in minutes, something strange happened in the Emperor's Grand Council. No one laughed. No one even spoke. The great rulers of the galaxy sat in silence, watching the replay. Human ships appeared out of nowhere, striking with perfect precision, then vanishing before a counterattack could land. Even the oldest admirals, who had survived 100 wars, stared in disbelief. "This cannot be real," one of them said. "No species can fold space like that," but it was real. Humanity had achieved what the Empire believed impossible. They had found a way to bend the stars themselves. Across the galaxy, the news spread faster than light. Worlds once enslaved by the Empire whispered of hope. If Earth could wound the greatest power in the galaxy, maybe they too could rise. Rebellion kindled like sparks in the dark. On Earth's hidden command station orbiting Mars, Admiral Kane stood before the holomap. Red lights marked Empire fleets, blue lights marked human ones. For the first time in history, the map didn't look one-sided. Humanity was no longer a cornered prey. They were a threat. "Status of fold strike groups?" Kane asked. "All 5 fleets are positioned, Admiral," replied Commander Alara, his second-in-command. "Targets locked on Empire supply lines." Kane nodded slowly. "No speeches. No warnings. Execute." Moments later, the galaxy shifted again. In an instant, humanity's fleets folded through the void, appearing above 20 different Empire worlds at once. No one saw them coming. They didn't fire first. They broadcasted the same sentence everywhere. "This is Earth. We do not seek conquest. We seek balance. Leave us in peace." But when the Empire ignored the warning, the sky burned. Over the planet Valen Prime, the Empire's third-largest fleet assembled to retaliate. Billions of soldiers waited, ready to strike back. The Emperor himself commanded from his throne ship, a monstrous vessel the size of a continent. Its hull gleamed with golden pride. When the first human ship appeared above Valen's atmosphere, the Empire's generals laughed bitterly. "So small," one said. "Just one ship?" Then came another. Then another. Then 1,000. Within seconds, space shimmered with folding distortions. Human ships appeared in perfect formation, encircling the Empire's armada like a silent storm. No sound, no warnings, just light bending around metal and engines humming with impossible power. Admiral Kane's voice came through the comms. Stand down and live. Fight and vanish. The Empire refused. The first volley came from the Emperor's throne ship, a massive energy cannon that could vaporize cities. But as the beam shot forward, the Erebus blinked out of existence and reappeared directly above the Emperor's fleet. Its railguns fired down with blinding white light. The explosion turned night into day. From orbit, the Empire's soldiers watched in horror as their grand fleet disintegrated. The humans didn't chase. They didn't gloat. They vanished just as quickly as they arrived, leaving only debris and silence. Word of the destruction reached the Empire's homeworld within hours. Panic spread. Citizens demanded answers. Propaganda channels collapsed under the weight of fear. For the first time in the Empire's history, people began to question their rulers. Who were the humans? How did they do this? And if they could appear anywhere, what was stopping them from appearing here? Across alien markets and space stations, whispers turned into stories. Some said the humans had made a deal with the void. Others believed they were ghosts of a dead civilization. Children were told never to mock Earth, for the ghosts of its people might hear. Back on Mars, Kane watched the chaos unfold through intercepted broadcasts. He did not smile. Victory was never his goal, it was survival. Humanity had shown their power, but he knew power invited enemies. Commander Alara turned to him. "They will come again," she said quietly. "They always do." Kane nodded. "Yes, but next time they will remember who we are." For weeks the Empire hesitated. Their fleet stayed close to home. Their governors reinforced planetary shields. But fear was poison. It spread through ranks, through families, through every proud world that once bowed to the Emperor. On the Empire's capital, riots broke out. Soldiers turned against their own officers. The once perfect system began to crumble, not from human weapons but from human defiance. The Emperor sat alone in his golden hall, staring at the hologram of Earth. It revolved slowly, glowing soft blue. "How can one small world do this?" he whispered. A trembling advisor answered, "Because, my Emperor, they fight as one." Meanwhile, on Earth, people finally learned the truth. The news broke through secrecy. Humanity had fought back and won. Crowds filled the streets. Tears, pride, and disbelief filled every home. For the first time, humanity wasn't just surviving among the stars. They were leading. Admiral Kane didn't attend any celebration. He stood alone on the Erebus, watching the distant sunrise from orbit. The stars looked peaceful again, but he knew the calm wouldn't last. War was coming. A real one. He touched the glass and whispered to the silent sky, "Let them tremble. But never think we wanted this." And as the Erebus drifted quietly through the dark, a faint blue shimmer surrounded its hull, the sign that Project Leap was ready again. Somewhere out there, beyond the reach of Empire sensors, humanity was preparing for the final strike. The galaxy had learned to fear them, but soon they would learn to respect them. The stars had changed. The Empire's banners no longer filled the void with pride. Now they drifted aimlessly beside wreckage and burned metal. Space itself seemed quieter, as if the galaxy was holding its breath. No official message came from the Emperor that day. His fleets had vanished, his admirals silenced, his armies lost in confusion. What once ruled thousands of worlds was now paralyzed by fear, and far away, hidden in the shadow of Jupiter, humanity watched in silence. Admiral Kane stood inside the command chamber of the Erebus. The floor vibrated softly with the hum of folded energy. Holographic displays surrounded him, showing star systems where battles had once raged. Every red marker representing the Empire now blinked blue. The war was over, though no one had officially declared it. He spoke quietly to his officers. "Transmit to all fleets. Cease aggression. Maintain defensive posture only." Commander Alara turned toward him. "You think they'll surrender?" "They already have," Kane replied. "They just haven't realized it yet." Outside, in the endless dark, human ships moved through the void like silent guardians. They no longer attacked. They simply appeared above Imperial worlds and waited. Entire populations would look up to see dark, gleaming ships hovering against their suns. No shots were fired. No demands were made. Only the quiet reminder that humanity could appear anywhere, anytime. On the Empire's capital world, the people began to kneel, not out of command, but out of fear and awe. Broadcast captured the moment when a fleet of Earthships appeared above the golden spires of the Imperial Palace, hanging motionless in the crimson sky. They made no threats, no speeches. After 10 minutes, they vanished, leaving the citizens in stunned silence. That was the moment the galaxy realized the truth. Humanity did not conquer. Humanity warned. The Emperor finally broke his silence. He called for peace talks, though his voice trembled when he spoke. "Let us end this madness," he said. "No more blood between our worlds." The transmission reached Earth within hours. In a sealed chamber beneath Geneva, leaders from every nation watched the Emperor's face flicker on a massive screen. He looked broken, pale, and smaller than his legend. For centuries, the Empire had made others bow. Now he bowed his head first. Kane joined the meeting remotely from orbit. His voice filled the room, calm and steady. "Tell the Emperor," he said, "that we will accept peace. But we will not kneel. Not to him. Not to anyone." A pause followed. Then Kane added, "Let the stars remember this day, not as victory, but as balance restored." The leaders agreed. Humanity would not claim new worlds or riches. They would only take back their dignity. When the message was transmitted back to the Empire, the reaction was unlike anything seen before. Entire alien colonies erupted in joy. On distant planets, enslaved species tore down the Empire's banners and replaced them with the image of a blue sphere, the mark of Earth. The name human became more than a word. It became a symbol. But humanity did not celebrate. There were no fireworks, no cheers, no parades. The world went on as usual. People worked, built, dreamed, yet something had changed deep inside them. They knew now what they were capable of. They knew that courage could rewrite the laws of the universe. Kane watched Earth from the bridge of the Erebus. The planet glowed softly beneath him, wrapped in clouds and peace. Commander Alara stepped beside him. "It's strange," she said. "We won a war that no one expected us to fight. Yet it doesn't feel like victory." Kane nodded slowly. "Because real victory isn't destruction," he said. "It's survival." A soft silence followed. The hum of the ship filled the air like a heartbeat. Outside the window, a new dawn rose across the curve of Earth, golden and calm. From orbit, Kane sent one final transmission to the galaxy. His words echoed across thousands of worlds, carried on light and silence. "We are not your enemies, but we will never be your slaves. We came not to rule, but to remind you that laughter fades, yet humanity endures." The message repeated only once before fading into static. No one knew where it came from or where it was transmitted, but it spread like wildfire through every star system. On planets where the Empire's flag once flew, children whispered the words before sleep. Soldiers carved them into their armor. Merchants painted them on their ships. "We will never be your slaves." Over time, the Empire crumbled quietly, not from human weapons, but from shame. Worlds that had once feared Earth now sought its alliance. The galaxy began to rebuild itself under a fragile peace born not of treaties, but of respect. And yet humanity didn't vanish into comfort. They kept building, exploring, pushing beyond the edges of known space. Because they knew one truth: the universe never stayed still. Somewhere in the endless dark, new empires were waiting, watching, judging. On the Erebus, Admiral Kane prepared for one final mission. Project Leap had evolved, no longer a weapon but a path. A doorway to other galaxies. Humanity was ready to step beyond its cradle once again, not as conquerors, but as explorers. Before departure, Kane recorded one final log. "This is Admiral Kane of Earth's Fleet Command. The war is over, but our journey has only begun. If anyone hears this in the future, remember, when they mocked us, we did not answer with rage. We answered with strength, silence, and unity. That is what it means to be human." He closed the transmission, turned toward the stars, and gave the order. "Activate full drive." The Erebus began to hum, its engines glowing brighter than a sun. Space folded around it, and with a silent flash, the ship disappeared into the void, leaving only ripples of light that danced like whispers across the dark. On distant worlds, people looked to the stars that night and swore they saw something, just for a moment, a blue spark moving between constellations. They didn't know it yet, but the legend of humanity had only begun.